Yeah, hold up, let me make sure the mic is on. Okay. So, where we left off, this, what if, Deku just ran into the woods after saying that he can't be a hero no more. And he keeps that mentality for like ever. And nobody really ever finds him again. Because Ingo's dead and they think Deku's dead with her. And they think Deku got kidnapped, but they're kinda right but wrong. And they find a van. Like eventually, people call in the van of people, and they see that they know that it had to be Deku. Ku's thing. I think her name is. Let's just say, Bakugo's mom knows that had to be Deku because she knows Deku has a sword quirk, and she knows that it does those or that scratches when he cuts people with it, like with that sword quirk. And he goes and switch back to Deku's perspective. Deku found a little cave, and let's just say the bond sword. This is the bond sword abilities. He can spin it around like nunchucks, and it can if he does it for 10 seconds, it will actually turn into a pair of nunchucks, and it also works as a flamethrower, a flame thrower. Can't speak. Flamethrower. God, don't know why that word was so impossible to say. Hold up. That my little sister came in my room. I just do this for her. Anyway, Deku goes and he lights a fire, and since he has a web quirk, he starts learning how to survive in the woods by himself, and he learns how to make a bow. So he makes a bow, and he learns how to hunt like an animal. Basically, erase his presence where nobody can feel it, and he learns how to do that. And I'll say he slowly starts learning that there's a way that, because he's still connected to the news since he's the one, and he still cares about what's going on outside of like his little woods that nobody go into. Well, people go into it, but he just avoids them. And people have found his camping site, but they think that it's just somebody else's camping site. Anyway, he learns that there's something called vigilantes now, and he learns that they are illegal and they're not allowed. But he's like, well, I know I can't be a hero. I killed people. Maybe this is basically what he's saying to himself. He's like, I know I can't be a hero, but maybe I can be this. And he's like, my mom would want me to do this. I know she wanted me to be a hero, but and he's like, he basically says, I know I can't be a hero. I killed people. That's against hero code. So he becomes a vigilante. He hasn't become a vigilante yet, but he started to basically learned how to knit, and I haven't given him a hero costume. I'll just pull a hero costume. That's for later. What if you was not supposed to see that yet? That's also for later. What if? Dang it. Why did I have to go back? I want to give him a suit, but I don't know what to give. I don't know if I got one or not. No, I'm using that for another what if. No, okay, I don't got one. I'll look up one later. Yo, wasn't supposed to. Yeah, let's just say a lot of spoilers. A lot of spoilers. This was released for what if Deku was kidnapped. It kind of got released a little bit. His quirk, so you might be able to no, you won't be able to piece it together. Definitely won't. No, it's impossible for y'all to piece it together just seeing the picture. Okay. Anyway, whatever. So he starts making his hero costume, and his hero costume is just going to be something simple, since he still is like, he's only, let's say he's 11. Yeah, he's 11. And the way that he learns is he learns from the web, and he learns from Google. So he basically just does online school, and he can hack. So he basically just hacked it to make it seem like he is a parent, so he can log into a school and actually do his schoolwork. And he actually is in a higher grade than he is supposed to be. Let's say he's 11. What grade was I? I think I was in 4th when I was 11. Oh, wait. No, yeah. Yeah, I was in like 3rd or 4th. Let's say he's in 5th. Let's just say he's in 5th. Yeah, he's in 5th and he's 11. And he's done with his hero costume, and it's basically just a cloak, a cloak with just a cloak. Just imagine any cloak, and that's what it is. Just a regular, plain, all black cloak. That's exactly what it is. Anyway, let's see. No, I'm not gonna give him a new sword. Not yet. Anyway, he practices on using the love sword, and he actually figures out if he hits animals with the love sword, it controls him too. Now this part is going to be 18 plus, because I literally got flagged for doing one of that. He was kidnapped. Like, come on now, what? So every time there's an 18 plus scene, I'm just going to say this is 18 plus scene. He learns that he can make the animal, like different animals, do the deed of the deeds, the peas and the bees. He figures out that he does that, and he makes I want to say a hybrid in a way with a deer. First he does a deer and a bear. Then he does the deer bear with a wolf, and it's basically just a wolf with horns and bear claws and bear teeth, and not the instincts of a bear, but like the all dark eyes of a bear, basically the eyes of death of a bear. So and it's not as big as a bear. I'll say it's half the size of a bear. Yeah. And let's say he has the speed of a deer and a bear and a wolf. The animal has speed of a deer, a bear, and a wolf combined. And he basically stole the cub, and he's raised it since it was a kid, a cub. And it basically has horns since it was a deer. I'm trying to picture it in my head as I say it, so it's like, so yeah, it has horns like a deer. It's a bear. I think bears have small tails too. Yeah, let's just say that it has a small poofy tail, but a body of a wolf. Yeah. And he's basically been raising it since he was a little kid, and since it was a cub. He's been raising it since he was 11, and I'll say time skip 2 more years, and that's when he finally decides to go back into the city and buy a house, like hack into a house website and steal a house, and hack into a bank and transfer the money. And basically he can hack everything, like anything he wants he can hack. He can even hack into UA if he wants. So he does that. He hacks into UA. No, he doesn't hack into UA. He hacks into a bank, and he buys his old apartment, and he basically makes he knocks down every wall in the apartment, and boxes it all in, fills it all in, and he basically just makes it like a big, huge mansion. And let me see if it's still recording. It's still recording. Let me check my timer. 5 minutes left. Okay. So he basically goes out, and after he buys the house, he goes out and He's just on patrol, just walking around, and then he sees All Might. He decides to go, like, walk up to All Might. He doesn't say he's a vigilante. He doesn't even have his quirk activated right now. He just walks up to All Might with the cloak, like, face down, where All Might can't see his head, and he says, All Might, and All Might turns around quickly because All Might's on alert. So All Might turns around quickly and fighting stance, and he's like, what do you want? He's like, are you a villain? Like what? And he's like, that he's kind of stuttering here because he was a, let's say he was an All Might fan before he got kidnapped. So he's kind of stuttering from assignment. So he's like, no, I'm not a villain, and that's basically what he said. And All Might's like, well, what are you? All Might isn't stuttering, my bad. All Might's like, well, what are you doing up here? Then he says, well, I seen you and I decided to jump up here so I can ask you a question. And he's like, oh, well, what's the question? He's like, and he says, this is what deku says. He's like, if you killed somebody, can you still become a hero if you really want to? All Might says that he thinks on it for a second, and he says yes if you're truly sorry for it, and that gives Deku a little bit of a motivation, and then he asks All Might for an autograph, and I'll say he got the autograph inside of his cloak, so All Might next time, because Deku wears the cloak all the time, but let's no, never mind. Let's say in since he bought the old apartment, nobody cleared out Inko's room or nothing like their apartment. So he never he didn't change or knock down any walls in the apartment. And that's like the room that he mainly spends most of his time in. That's basically like the area that he's in the whole time. And it's basically like an apartment in a whole mansion. So it's like a big mansion, and then there's this that little apartment tucked into like it's that one apartment room with the number of the door of the apartment still on the door, and it's just tucked into a corner. And like when people come over and visit, they're like, wait, what is this? And he's like, oh, this used to be an apartment, and this was where, and he just stops right there. He just says, this is where I, then he just like shuts the fuck up. Because like they can look up this apartment room and realize that this is where Inko Midoriya lived, and Deku where Zuko Midoriya lived, but Zuko Midoriya went missing and his case instead, and Inko Midoriya was stabbed from when she was leaving her work office on her way home to let her son in. Anyway, from there, Deku jumps. He jumps on like after getting the autograph, and All Might saying, "Yeah, if they are truly sorry." Deku starts thinking, "Is he actually sorry?" And he starts thinking on it, and he thinks in the back of the head is this slight thought saying that no, he's not sorry, but in the top of in the loudest voice in his head is saying, yeah, I'm sorry. But that voice in the back of his head is just getting louder and louder. And so he stops thinking on that thought. And well, he was still thinking on it. But something broke his cloud of thought. He heard some sirens. And then he seen All Might jumping the opposite way. And All Might was too far to hear it. So he just jumped down. And he asked the villains to stop nicely. And he accidentally looked up, so they got to see that the villains seen that he was a little kid. And they said, well, what is the villain said this way too loud. And they said it loud enough for All Might to hear. They said, wow, what is a little kid going to do? And everybody started to burst out in laughter. And Deku said, I might be a kid. Deku said, I might be a kid, but I can beat all of you with a hand tied behind my back. And that made the leader villain mad, so he stepped out and said, well, come on, kid. And the dude had a strength enhancement Wow. As soon as I get into the fighting scene, how to say this? The dude had a fighting enhancement quick, and Deku pulls out the golden sword, and he says, "Beat that." And I'm going to leave it off there on that cliffhanger.